rules President Trump's use of the National Guard during immigration protests in Los Angeles was illegal. CBS's Michael Wallace explained.
District Judge Charles Breyer says the administration violated the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 when it sent the troops to accompany federal agents on the immigration raids. That act prohibits the use of the Army and Air Force for domestic law enforcement purposes. The administration has argued the Posse Comitatus Act doesn't apply because the troops were protecting federal officers, not enforcing laws.
About 300 National Guard troops are currently in L.A. The judge did not order they be withdrawn. Congress is back in session this week, and at the top of the list on the agenda, a push from both Republicans and Democrats for the Justice Department to release all the files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Members of the House Oversight Committee, which is already poring over reams of Epstein case records that it subpoenaed from the Department of Justice, will meet with several Epstein victims, and it comes as there's this brewing effort from Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie to get a handful of GOP members to defy Trump, who's told Republicans to move on, and procedurally vote to force a release of the Epstein files publicly.
The committee has also withdrawn a subpoena to former director of the FBI, Robert Mueller, citing the state of his health. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Kind of a rough start here to the trading week. The Dow is off about 400 points at 45,139. NASDAQ off about 300 today at 21,169. S&P 500 down about 75 at 63.87. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:03.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers finally have a day off, their first since August 14th. Milwaukee goes 9-10 during that 19-game stretch in 18 days. It ends with a loss to the Phillies on Labor Day at American Family Field. Manager Pat Murphy on Wisconsin's Morning News. He believes the team handled that stretch well.
We've been facing adversity all year long. People have doubted this team all year long, but here we are. And we've had some up and down, but who would have thought the Brewers have the best record in baseball on September 2nd.
The series picks up with Game 2 at American Family Field Wednesday evening. And ESPN reports new Packers acquisition Micah Parsons has been dealing with an L4, L5 facet joint sprain in his back. He might receive an injection before Sunday's regular season opener against the Lions at Lambeau Field. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Usual slowdown spots here this morning. Starting to pick up volume just south of Silver Spring. If you're headed 4145 southbound toward the Zoo interchange, you'll be on the brakes until you get to about Burleigh. Northbound delays begin right around Watertown Pink. You should be cleared up once you get past the North Avenue West exit. Heading eastbound into downtown on I-94, your delays begin right around 76th Street. They're really slowing down around the stadium. Should be pretty clear once you get past 35th, about a 4-minute delay making your way downtown. Well, nice day today. Mostly sunny, a high of 76. Increasing clouds later this evening. There is a slight chance of rain at a low of 61. Rain likely on Wednesday. Breezy and a high of 72. With that rain comes a cold front. Partly cloudy and a high of 63 on Thursday. Partly cloudy, chance of showers on Friday and a high of 64. Sun returns on Saturday with a high of 65. Right now it's 64 in La Crosse, 69 in Little Chute, 66 in Lomira, and 66 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, you have to think about it. I actually made a mental note in my brain just to not say Monday over and over again. Because, for us, it feels like a Monday, right? Because we haven't done a show yesterday.
I have absolutely no idea what it was, because I left Thursday afternoon to go to Minnesota. So then Friday felt like a Saturday. Then we drove back on Saturday, and then we had like an extra Saturday. It was like I was all over the place. So I'm still, even today, I'm like, I have a lot to get oriented in my brain as we get back into a very, very heavy news day.
Yeah, and I was completely. I didn't have internet service for a lot of the weekend because I was up at my in-laws' cabin in the northern part of the state, Mercer, Wisconsin, to be exact. And I spent some time in Minocqua. Had a lovely dinner there at North Fork, which was amazing.
So were you paying attention Friday night?
Friday nights.
This last Friday. So is this when you were in?
No, I was already gone.
So you were already gone. You had no internet service. I was at a wedding. I had no internet service. So apparently we both were MIA when those 12 hours of the internet assuming or thinking or some hoping that the president was no longer with us.
Yeah, this is nuts to me.
It's crazy as far as how, I saw something. It was over 40 thousands of posts on X were shared featuring hashtags including "Where is Trump?" and "Trump died." Posts speculating that Trump's possible demise had acquired over 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning. That was just on one app, let alone all of them.
So I guess the obvious part of this is why people were wondering this is because he had been to a cabinet meeting. I actually talked about that on Friday. And had no public events over the entire weekend.
Now, there were 7 days that people didn't see him.
Now, and here's the weird part, and this is you and I were talking about this before the show. Are we being trolled by the White House is sort of my question. Because he's scheduled, the President of the United States, to speak at, I think, 1 p.m. our time this afternoon on this idea of moving Space Command from Colorado Springs to Alabama. Certainly, there's just a lot of attention about changing the Defense Department to Department of War. Which feels
weird because isn't he the anti-war guy?
That's what he hates war. He does not like war. So that's sort of an interesting one. All this weird stuff, something about Walter Reed and the roads being closed, they're going there today. All of these questions about where he is, what he's doing, some weird
how he's feeling.
Yeah, so weird White House posts where they show pictures supposedly this weekend, but then when someone did some Googling research, the images were actually from a year ago. Like golfing on like with stuff behind him that was there a year ago. So there's just a lot of weirdness about this story. I guess we'll find out at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
And how he looks.
Yeah,
he looks healthy.
Do you see the images? One, he looked like he had a shaved head. The other one had some big thing right in the middle of his forehead, like a swelling.
And there was a weird video of people throwing something outside of the White House, and then the expectation or like the knowledge that since 9/11, all of the White House windows have been like sealed shut with bulletproof glass. There's just a lot of weirdness, and that I think if you're not chronically online, even in the attempt to summarize everything that feels like happened on this weekend, is just to share a word, discombobulating.
So I'll ask you: do you think we're being trolled? You think he's just fine, and all this other stuff's nonsense?
I mean, do I think he's fine?
Well, he has some health issues.
Is he 78 or 79 now?
He's I think he's 79.
He turned 79 in June.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, does he look the healthiest he's ever
No,
looked?
he looks unhealthy.
So as far as, is he fine? Is he alive? I think he is alive.
Yes, I think he's alive, yes. I hope he's alive. No one wants the president to die in office.
So I was thinking about this as far as the reaction. And maybe this was just the internet being the internet. But not just unique to Trump of being such a polarizing figure. But I think the same reactions would probably erupt if Biden if we had known more about all of Biden's health issues while he was in office. Like, do you think we'll ever have a president again where the sanctity of the office creates people to have reverence for that person and like his or her health, versus half of the country being titillated by the idea that they might have died?
Yeah, I saw people cheerleading it on social media.
That's what I mean. Like, have we moved beyond? Is this a Trump thing, or is this just how polarized we are now that no matter who's in that office, half the country is going to hate them?
I don't know what the number is, but I was going to say half the country loves the president, half the country hates, but that's not actually correct anymore. So there's a significant number of both sides who absolutely hate the other side. Would you agree with that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that number is, and it could be higher on one side. I have no idea. It's sort of an interesting time because this White House, Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, have put the stamp of, they say, complete transparency. But I don't feel like we got complete transparency in the last week. Now, they put out a crazy video on YouTube, about an hour. The president's, what is this, top 11 lessons of life? What are you telling us? That came from a White House account. What are you telling us today?
Yeah, but the White House account that has been trolling everyone. I mean, this is also the same White House account that's been like ASMR deportation videos where they're like chains clinking and people getting handcuffed. So like, it's the account I would not say is a serious account anymore.
And I had a conversation yesterday I was at the Lions Fest, which I talked about on Friday. Actually, we talked about it last week too. On how much we are told now you can't trust anything, like FBI, CIA, government, blah, 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 AI, whatever it is. So why in the hell would I trust this White House to tell us anything? Are they like exempt from that crazy weirdness that we can't trust anything, or are they just playing the game? A part of me feels like they're playing the game. They like this stuff. It's sort of like how Bill McCoshen approaches it. He likes to tweak everybody, right? On our little text exchanges, he likes to tweak us, right? All this positive news. I have no idea if the president is healthy or not healthy, what's ailing him. I know a little bit about that. It's just something doesn't look right to me. And if you're going to be transparent, maybe today, because if he does a live presser where he's sitting at his desk or standing at a podium, it's hard not to be able to assess his condition, right? Because I'm guessing he's not going to have a hat on. Okay, so whatever's going on with his head or his hair, that'll be recognizable. His mannerisms, his speech, all those things will be immediately recognizable as this was the old Trump or there's something going on here. And all this hyper-focused, to sort of put a ribbon on this part of this conversation, is all, in my opinion, because of what happened at the end of the Biden presidency. We didn't know, like, how sharp is this guy? And from all accounts, he's doing fine today, even though he's, been diagnosed with a serious issue. I have no idea what to trust anymore. Texter says, does not mean they are transparent. It's just gibberish. A lot of it is gibberish. Caroline Leavitt is she might as well be on the campaign. I mean, that's what she does as press secretary. Not that they all don't do that, but she's just rubber stamping whatever comes out of the mouth of the president, which I guess is their job, right?
Is it their job?
I don't know.
Is their job? I thought their job was, obviously you are a representation of the administration, but the job is not just to like spin control. It's also to communicate to the press as far as the actions of the administration.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to play that line. You got to support the president, but you got to tell the truth. She doesn't tell the truth. And just for the hell of it, because I feel like it, after the break, I'm going to just give you some things the president has spoken on recently, and maybe I'll do it at the last segment of this hour, that are completely false, but he continues to say them out loud, either in his Truth Social posts or in person before his disappearance, air quoting disappearance. It's an interesting time for the office of the President of the United States.
It's an interesting time in general.
Yes, Kristin Steve. Point taken on this Tuesday edition. We'll be right back on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
I believe in aliens, ghosts, and UFOs, but I don't believe Hassleus Mattress is employee-free.
It's true. Give our mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Do these mattresses come from Area 51?
We're talking big names like Sealy Posturepedic and Beautyrest.
Who's supporting you? The Illuminati?
If you need support, through Monday, get a free adjustable base with any new mattress.
That's what the lizard people told you to say.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com.
Bank 5-9 has a mission to make lives better. They make it a priority to give back to their customers, communities, and their employees. In fact, Bank 5-9 was just honored again by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 16 years in a row. Want to learn more about working with the great people at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal Opportunity Employer, member FDIC.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
The FBI now investigating the deadly Minneapolis shooting as a hate crime. Investigators combing through the shooter's background as well as YouTube videos.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
A mental health therapist in Whitefish Bay says the impacts of the shooting will linger with some students for the rest of their lives.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. Only on WTMJ.
What the hell is going on in the office of the President of the United States? I guess we'll get some of our answers this afternoon. The President's scheduled to speak at 1 p.m. I would, if I was doing my show, I'd probably carry that live just to hear what the heck he's saying.
Do you think...
Yes, I always think.
No. But as far as the... Not support, because I think everyone who supports the president. But as far as... So much I think of this administration, his second term so far has been marked by how public he's been, how much he's he's meeting with the press all of the time. You know, he's doing Trump-like things. And I think regardless of his age, people are attracted to him because of his strength, because of his unapologetic nature, as far as how he talks. If he did have any kind of health concern over the weekend that diminishes how he presents publicly, do you think people change their attitude about him, or do you think that they stand by regardless of how he presents?
I mean, if there's something wrong with the president?
So, I don't want to... How do I say this without creating any kind of false speculation of what happened?
Well, we know you're speculating.
Let's say, like, if you ever known anyone who's had a stroke?
Yes.
A stroke that they survive?
Yes.
So, you know, they have to go through some certain physical therapy depending on if it affects their dexterity in their hands or their speech or something, but like they're alive, they're fine, but there are certain things that happen as far as what they can and cannot do as they try to recover from the stroke. So I'm not saying anything like that happened, but if something were to happen where it affects he's alive, he can do the job, but physically he looks different and he talks differently than he has in the past. Do you think no matter what, MAGA and Republicans are like, he's the guy? Or do you think there starts to be a, what is the word that I want? Like a slipping away as far as...
right? So they're pulling back.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think there would be some of that because, let's be honest, all the people that voted for Donald Trump aren't 100% Donald Trump fans. They're just, the alternative was Kamala Harris. They said, no thanks, we're going for Trump. Whatever this is, and part of it's just aging. He's 79 years old. I think the public has a right to know. Now, here's where it gets interesting for me. Because what I've seen of his administration, his support staff, and everything around him for the last decade plus, a part of me thinks, and I don't know, I haven't any evidence of this at all, that if there's something seriously wrong with him, they're not going to tell us. That's what I feel today.
So it's just Biden again?
It's like, yeah, exactly. Only on the other side of the aisle. And I
Which also isn't the first time this has ever happened, right? FDR was in a wheelchair.
And no one knew.
And no one knew. I mean, by the end of Reagan's administration, isn't there a lot of speculation as far as how he was doing? And so it's not the first time there's been a little bit of a cover-up of how the president's doing.
And here's the other thing, because you and I were talking about AI a lot, sort of off show recently. How much of these, like there's an image of Trump with this weird thing on his forehead. Is that AI? Is that real? There's a weird image of Trump from last week where he has like no hair on the back of his head. Is that AI or is that real? I have no idea. And because AI is so good now, I don't think most people that don't work in that field or that area would have any idea if it's real or not until they do what I say, which is anything that's AI is branded AI, so we never can be fooled again, which I think is what has to happen because it's getting too good. I have no idea. Here's the thing. The president has an opportunity this afternoon at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. our time, to put himself out there. But to disappear, this president to disappear for what is now almost a week, something's not right.
When was the last time in modern history that we didn't hear, in the last 10 years?
Well, Biden disappeared for a while.
No, I'm talking about Trump specifically.
Oh, Trump,
Trump wasn't on TV in some way or another for 7 full days.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's such a fascinating look at how we view that office, how politics has shaped us, how the internet, social media, AI is sort of reshaping all that, our consumption of these things. You were talking about all these things that are just spinning out of control, all these conspiracy theories and all the other things and people's reaction to whatever they're seeing or hearing. It's nuts. And I'm going to go back to what I said before. I'm a guy who listens to the person that's in charge. All right, so tell me, so I know you're good. So when I watch the president this afternoon or listen to him.
You don't trust his truth socials?
No. And this is why this is crazy. So here's just a quick rundown. I know we got to get to break here. These are just the things in the last week or so he said that are completely false. In many places in the country, there's $2 or less, $2 a gallon gas. There's nowhere in the country that's $2 or less gas, unless you have a coupon.
Yeah, I drove in today. It was $3.30.
Yeah. It's impossible to have a 1,500% reduction on prescription drugs. The maximum is 100%. That would be free. Anything beyond that, they're paying us to take the drug. Everyone understand that? There's no 1,500% reduction. It's 100, which is free. Anything more than that, they're paying us to take the damn drug. That's something he said out loud last week. He keeps talking about no inflation. Not true. You look at all kinds of different price indexes. They're all sort of stuff. Mail-in voting. Falsehoods on who does it, whether it works or not. All those things are false. He said it over and over again. He's signed an executive order on it. His issues with Los Angeles and the water, he didn't do anything with the water. That's all BS. 2020 election, again now, we're being told it's all fake. Apparently he's going to sign another executive order related to elections, voter ID in every state. Again, states control elections. You can't just say stuff. I was going to use a different word. All the things he's been talking about lately, all of them are false. You have a president of the United States who's supposed to be the most trusted, most respected person in the country. That's the ideal. This is not that. That gives me pause. I, like you, all of you, most of you, will be listening and watching, hopefully, the President of the United States this afternoon. Put all that stuff to bed. Put it to rest. If he doesn't, it's going to get crazy up in here. It's going to be nuts. If he's got something wrong with him, whether it's serious, if he announces any of that. What we're being told is it's Space Command moving to Alabama. It's maybe an executive order.
Defense Department to
Department of War, which makes no sense given what he said previously. Again, another misstatement. I don't know. That's what's coming this afternoon.
I mean, what this is really about is to, I guess, put all of the rumors to bed, I have to imagine. Because none of those things seem like, I don't know, a big deal where we're all going to be tuning in see what he has to say about these things. Like, none of those feel like huge announcements, but everyone's going to tune in and be like, what does he look like?
Yeah, maybe that's the hook. Maybe he wanted to.
That's the press.
Yeah. So I guess we're all going to find out together. Lots more on the show today. Got a live guest coming up in a little bit.
We do.
Yeah. I think she's here.
That's after the break, though. That's after the bottom of the hour news.
Talking some Wisconsin politics. We got a quick segment after the break here on 620 WTMJ. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
You don't have to be going for the largest personal injury verdict in state history to call us, or the largest product liability verdict in state history. But just in case it gets that big, we're the ones most qualified to handle it. Since 1930, our firm has handled and won the largest personal injury cases in Wisconsin history. And we want to handle your car accident case, too. Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Visit habish.com for more information.
I'm Matt Dorner, CEO of Milwaukee Downtown Bid 21. Our business leaders value downtown Milwaukee.
MGIC has been committed to downtown Milwaukee since our founding in 1957. I'm Tim Matke, CEO of MGIC. Downtown is a thriving community and a vibrant work environment that enhances our employee experience. We're proud to call downtown our home.
Get down to business at MilwaukeeDowntown.com.
For legal reasons, we must state that the Matrix Bedroom from Penny Mustard is in no way associated with any major motion picture of the same name. Any similarities are merely a coincidence.
It's no coincidence. If anything, Hollywood was inspired by the Matrix Bedroom.
Why do you say that?
Come on, look at the Matrix Bedroom's sleek, smooth appearance, the angled hard lines,
the tapered legs, and inset drawers.
I mean, it is Penny Mustard's most contemporary bedroom.
You could almost say it's neo-contemporary.
Careful.
Solid wood.
Forever tight bed brackets,
and thick drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
The Matrix Bedroom is a blockbuster.
We should really stop talking about this.
Fine. Take this blue pill and you'll forget all about it.
That's a jelly bean.
Yeah, I know. I already ate the red one.
The Matrix Bedroom, starting at just $230 a month with no interest till September of 2028 through September 7th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi here to talk about my brand new show, WTMJ Outdoors. This week takes us to central Wisconsin. We talked to Mallory Payne from the Plover Tourism Department. All things recreation, outdoors, on their waterways. And then we go to a fishing guide in southeastern Wisconsin. All things fishing. All things Wisconsin outdoors. Join us every Saturday, 2 to 3, right here on 620 WTMJ.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Oh, good musical choice there. Anyway, we're going to find out this afternoon. Anyway, one of the things that the news that broke over the weekend as
one of the things?
Yeah, many things, was this story from the president himself, I think on Truth Social, that he's going to honor Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor at one point, now sort of shamed and disbarred in several states because of his actions during the 2020 election aftermath. Going to honor Rudy Giuliani with a Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I would say,
I have really mixed feelings on this.
I do too. He deserves it for his work after 9/11.
And he took down the mafia. Like there's a lot of stuff that he did earlier in his career that deserves to be recognized.
Yeah.
And yet the fall from grace as far as, he's had a series of legal and financial issues that he's filed for bankruptcy, he's been criminally charged in Georgia and Arizona. I think I saw him briefly at the RNC because he has his podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't come across as the most stable, mentally stable individual anymore. But at the same time, you can't take away the things that he actually accomplished. So I have very mixed feelings as far as how this goes.
Yeah, on his overall work product, I'd probably give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's not the most controversial one I've ever seen.
That's true.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that. After the break for news, let's talk to a state senator from the state of Wisconsin. I've never interviewed her before. Have you?
I have not either.
Okay. Well, we'll meet a state senator from the state of Wisconsin after the news, which is next, coming up here now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. A federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration broke the law when the president deployed federal troops to Los Angeles earlier this summer. The ruling saying that it is illegal to use federal troops in U.S. City. Despite that, the president is talking about doing the same thing in the city of Chicago.
President Trump continues to threaten to send into Chicago federal agents and National Guard troops. The president writing on social media that Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker, quote, needs help badly. But Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson have pushed back. Pritzker saying this potential action is, quote, un-American and illegal. This comes as a federal judge Tuesday ruled that the administration's use of federal troops in Los Angeles to conduct law enforcement operations is unlawful. But the judge's order prohibiting that kind of activity doesn't take effect until September 12th, so the administration can appeal. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Leaders from China, Russia, India, all holding a summit in Beijing. The U.S. was not invited. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:31. Search efforts resumed today on Lake Mendota in Madison for a person who jumped off a pontoon boat over Labor Day weekend. Agencies responded to the lake Monday. Our partners at WISC in Madison report the missing person was not wearing a life jacket. The search Monday was called off due to darkness. A shakeup on vape sales today affects sales across the state of Wisconsin. A new law requires store owners to only sell products that fall on the Wisconsin Department of Revenue list of approved items or face a $1,000 fine per day per item. A total of 216 items are on that list. Any device being sold that's not on the list would be considered illegal. A judge's ruling on a lawsuit aiming to stop the measure could come later this week. And more resources to recover from southeast Wisconsin's historic flooding. The American Red Cross hosting 3 resource centers this week to help flood victims plan their next recovery steps. Agencies like Wisconsin Badger Care Plus, Food Share, the Wisconsin Office of Insurance, and the Salvation Army will all offer assistance. Mental health services and spiritual care will also be available. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A rough start to the trading week here. The Dow is off nearly 500 points today at 45,065. NASDAQ off nearly 350 at 21,109. And the S&P 500 down a little under 100 points at 6375. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, the WTMJ Time Saver traffic update heading eastbound on 94, right around the stadium interchange. Things are starting to lock up, about 76 or so. You should be cleared up by the time you get to about 35th Street, about a 4-minute delay getting into downtown. Usual delays on 4145 northbound. They begin a little after Watertown Plank Road. Should be cleared up by the time you get to North Avenue going west. Southbound delays begin about Silver Spring and clear up a little after Burleigh. Beautiful day today with highs topping out about 76 degrees. Plenty of sun. Clouds on the increase tonight, however. Slight chance of rain and a low of 61. Wednesday brings rain and a cold front. Thursday's high 63. Friday's high 64. Sunny on Saturday with a high of 65. Right now it's 71 in Kewaskum, 71 in Kohler, 70 in Kaukauna, and 70 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
Hey, if you love true, authentic Mexican food, I highly recommend you stop at the Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford today. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Shaft is the most affordable, family-friendly dining restaurant, and the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet is just $9.99. Whoa, that's incredible. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Kids and grandkids under 3 eat for free. Today from the kids menu. They'll love that huge game room quietly set aside from the dining area wherever you live. It's worth the drive to the Mine Shaft today for the all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet, just $9.99. Excelente. Wednesday, the all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. That's a crazy low price. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford, just off Highway 41 near the EAA in Oshkosh. 2 locations, both fantastic. No need to cook today. Just walk in, relax, and enjoy the all-you-can-eat Tuesday Mexican buffet for under $10. Check it out, mineshaftrestaurant.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs. allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Thanks for finding us on your busy post-Labor Day Tuesday morning here on 620 WTMJ Point Taken. She's Kristin, I'm Steve. I've never talked to our next guest other than a brief hello last week. She's State Senator Dora Drake. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you were appearing on one of our other stations, I think The Truth. So much to talk about, but you're sort of getting back in, hopefully back into session at some point here, right?
Yeah.
That question's still out there, right?
It is still out there. So I was just telling Kristin before we went on air how this week I know the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee and the Health Committee will be meeting because I'm on those committees. So
there's on my schedule.
Yep. So tomorrow I'll be in Madison for those committees. But in terms of when we're actually going to be back in session, that's the biggest question. And, I think it's this weird space where people are like, okay, we passed the budget. Now what? And I think part of the reason why things are moving way slower than they should be is because I do think Republicans know that their time's up. And so,
interesting.
Well, think of it this way. We know that next year's midterm elections, right? And I know in the Senate we have a real opportunity to get the majority. And same in the Assembly. And now there's the governor's race that everyone's thinking about and talking about. And so there is an opportunity for Democrats to get the majority. But because of that, I think people might be a little wary of maybe moving things slower than necessary.
Since you brought it up, what would that, if there was a take over your word, what would that feel like if Democrats had the control the sessions, controlled what you're talking about, controlled the committee assignments? What would that feel like? Because it's been a while.
It has been. And honestly, I think we finally be able to push the things that people in Wisconsin have been fighting for, whether that's gun safety legislation, whether that's collective bargaining rights for labor. You talk about healthcare. There's so many things that Democrats have stood on that we would actually find ways to put forth in Wisconsin. And so that's the exciting part for me. The hard part is, okay, we know we have this opportunity. We just need to do the work, get the vote out, and then make sure we keep it when we get there.
So that I have to imagine that's part of the reason why the Black Legislative Caucus has announced that they're doing a listening tour. They're doing a bunch of town halls this month. And so how much of that is a reaction to what happened last fall or this spring of past elections versus looking ahead into next spring and next fall as far as wanting to get out of Madison or out of Milwaukee and actually meet people where they're at?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all those things. I don't think it was a one situation that happened. Obviously with last year, Wisconsin did have some of the highest voter turnouts from Black voters, and we saw that Milwaukee is clear as day. But there is, I think, a national discussion. I mean, the polls share how, Democrats are doing poorly in the polls, too. So I think part of that is this disillusionment about, okay, we show up time and time again because we believe in the things that you guys fight for, but what do we get in return for it?
Yeah.
And so part of that is response to what's happened last year. We've had mixed feelings about the budget, and we said, look, we want to make sure that we take action and we're responding to the issues that you've brought forward to us. And that's really why the Legislative Black Caucus announced a tour of all these different listening sessions, because yes, the majority of Black Wisconsinites are in Madison and Milwaukee, but there are communities that, are in Wisconsin, and we want to make sure that we hear their voice too. And
as you go on this listening tour, we were told during the election, the run up to November, that it's the economy, household budgets, and crime. Do you buy into that those are still the things that people are talking about and want to hear from their elected representatives about?
I think that's definitely part of it. Household kitchen tables, right? Because people are still talking about, look, childcare is still expensive. How can I choose between making sure my kids are in childcare versus still keeping a job versus now, feeling safe. I think those are just your bread and butter issues. I think what's nuanced for Black Wisconsinites is those are issues that we have been pushing for, and those are things that we haven't really seen to what it could be. For example, if you look at Wisconsin, we still have the highest low unemployment rate for Black Wisconsinites, even though we're doing great in other sectors. And so there's a question of saying, look, we want to work, we want to provide for our families, but somehow there's something that's missing there, right? And I think what you're seeing nationally is not just the employment piece, but really the erasure of our own history too. And measures of trying to ensure that our history is still funded, that goes into education, right? We know that there still can be more done, investing in our public schools, but ultimately making sure that our Black children can read and write. And so really it's hearing the issues that people want to bring forward to us, so now we can actually create a policy agenda that's reflective of the issues that people are bringing to us and bringing it to our attention.
Do you expect they're going to hear anything that you don't already know?
I don't know, but I think that's what makes me excited about it. Yeah. As leaders, obviously it's our job to always hear from our constituents on what those issues are. And obviously they tell us because they want us to bring a solution, find a way to fight for it. But even in that, sometimes we don't always get it right. And so I'm sure there are some things that we will hear that we're like, yeah, we knew that's probably something that we still need to work on. But maybe there might be other issues that we had no clue.
We're on Point Taken Tuesday edition. Kristin and Steve talking to State Senator Dora Drake. We're continuing the conversation, including the exodus of young Black males to Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, and what you think that meant or said. Mm-hmm. We'll discuss that and a lot more with our guest on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money, the One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
There I was outside doing some yard work when I noticed my neighbor looking over his windows. He's climbing up and down his ladder, and I hear him holler to his wife, "Honey, we're gonna need a few new windows." So I took a walk over and said, "Hi Ron, do you mind if I take a look?" He said, "Go right ahead." And I said, the window itself, which is the framework to the glass here, looks fine. And the sill, which is the bottom of the framework, that's fine too. It's the glass that needs replacing. The seal must be broke, and that lets in the moisture we're seeing. That's why your windows are fogging up. And he said, "So I don't need new windows?" And I said, "No, actually, if you want, I can have the glass replaced, and they'll basically be as good as new. And believe me, it'll cost you a lot less than replacing these." This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns.
Continuing our conversation with State Senator Dora Drake, joining us in studio on this Tuesday edition. Kristin, Brey, Steve Scaffidi, Point Taken, 620 WTMJ. I mentioned it before the break. One of the big things that happened in the November election was a lot of young black men sort of switched their party or switched their affiliation and voted for Donald Trump. What do you make of that? It's just a one-of? Is it a trend worth watching?
Yeah. So, and it's a good point that you brought up. I will say what's unique, at least in Wisconsin, was that I actually saw more black men come out for Kamala Harris. So I do want to set that record. But there is something to be said about having younger black men sort of switch over. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, like I said, I mentioned the unemployment rate. That is an issue where if you're talking about economics, that's an issue that I think black men sort of just gravitate to because, culturally, people want to be able to provide for their families. And so when you have someone, as our president is, just this cavalier, sort of like no nonsense, I'll say what I say, regardless if, I'm being rude or not, is sort of attractive in that way because people are sort of just seeking the real. So I think that's just not even for black men, but I think that's just in general, because I would say, I think if the numbers are correct, that I think there's usually just a trend for younger men in general. Mm-hmm. So it's something absolutely. Where I think as a party, we need to figure out like what it means for us to like really ensure that we care about labor rights, but making sure that we're giving people the fair economic opportunity, whether it is to not only start a business, but actually support your small business and ventures, but also as a worker too, because not everyone's going to start a business, and making sure that those options are available for them.
So we were just talking at the break that you first got elected in 2020 to the Assembly. Mm-hmm. You're now in the state Senate. So you mostly have only been able to work in the minority in the state legislature. But as a lifelong Milwaukeean, when you hear the issues that the black community, let's say just in Milwaukee, is dealing with, how much do you feel like is things that could get solved statewide in the legislature versus working at the county level, working at the city level? Like when you see the landscape, where do you feel like the limitation is for what you and the Legislative Black Caucus can do versus pointing people back in the direction of the Common Council or the county executive? Right. So, I mean, a big part of this is funding and resources. Yeah. I know that with, I think it's Act 12. Yeah, with Act 12, I know that was the start of getting some more resources back to Milwaukee, the city, and the county. But even in that, it wasn't to where they could be to be sustainable, right? And, the whole state knows that Milwaukee is the economic engine for our whole state.
I hope they know that. They should.
I don't know if they do know that.
Well, and I think that's part of the frustrations that maybe some of us as lawmakers have, is because obviously you have your urban areas in the state, so that's Milwaukee and Madison, and even Green Bay, because obviously they're like growing as well. But then you have your rural. We're seeing in Kenosha. Oh, yeah. I mean, exactly. There's pockets of. There are. I think it's really, and I hate to say it, but I think a turf war in a way of just like, okay, well, whoever has the most resources sort of controls how things are determined. And I think that's the frustration where I think some of us lawmakers just have in general. And the question really becomes, look, if you benefit Milwaukee, you benefit the whole state. And I think that really ties into the message that the caucus is trying to get out too. The issues that black folks deal with, truly, if you address them, you uplift everybody. Well, and that was going to be one of my questions, and you kind of answered it in the last segment. It feels to me, as someone who is not black, but so much of those issues are something like it's kitchen table issues. Exactly. It's the economy. It's safety. It's like, what is the unique besides racism, right? But and which you can argue is woven into everything. But as far as like, what is anyone going to come to a black legislative caucus town hall that's going to be a different issue than what most of us want when it comes to a better life? Exactly. Like, even if you take the issue of reproductive health care and abortion care rights, right? Like, those are issues that the whole state overwhelmingly agree on. If you come to one of our town halls or even some of the districts, I'm sure part of us, like, not only do we agree that we just want equity in our access to health care. So that's not even just with reproductive health care. That's making sure you have preventative services, having a doctor that actually listens to you, or you have the education necessary to actually get into the medical field.
State Senator Dora Drake joining us. Can you stick around for one more second?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I got a question to ask you about Milwaukee, since we're sitting in Milwaukee and everybody talks about Milwaukee.
Of course.
We'll discuss that with our guest, State Senator Dora Drake, after this on 620 WTMJ.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory's arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for QC Kinetics. I did something about it. What was that? I had elbow pain, elbow strain, maybe a slight tear, tennis elbow is what they call it. I went to QC Kinetics, talked to Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They set me straight. We can do other things besides surgery, besides, shots or pills. And the results, 3 treatments of 5 in, it already feels tremendously less painful. And, oh, by the way, I can now turn that doorknob without feeling a sharp pain in my elbow. That's what they can do for you. No surgery, no drugs, no long recovery, a smarter, more natural way to get your freedom back, restorative treatments, restore the damage from my joint pain. You can even bring your MRIs and x-rays if you want to have them take a look at what you've done previously. So I found out if you're a good candidate. I called QC Kinetics, and you can too. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics changed your pain right now. Call.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure families throughout Wisconsin. Our experienced and local agents are here to assess your individual needs and ensure your family is protected. As one of Wisconsin's top 10 insurance agencies, Ansay & Associates is here to provide all of your insurance needs, from home and auto to life insurance and specialty coverage. Learn more at ansay.com. That's ANSAY.com.
Shop smarter with Higher Love Cannabis Company in Menominee, Michigan, just a few seconds across the Wisconsin border. Award-winning, organically grown, quality products you can trust. Don't settle for knockoffs in Wisconsin. Get the real deal at findhigherlove.com/CBD.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back September 9th.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Texas Rangers.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in September 9th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. We are joined in studio by State Senator Dora Drake. I asked you before the break, Kristin and I get a lot of texts, hundreds if not thousands of texts during a 2-hour program. A lot of them are Milwaukee focused, right? And we had the weekend of these, street takeovers. We've talked about police and hiring issues and concerns. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this idea that some people have, which I think is misguided, that Milwaukee is not a safe place to live, work, play. I would completely disagree with that as someone who does all 3 things in this community. But you're a state senator.
Right.
You're born and raised, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's your reaction when you hear those comments?
I understand the concern, but there's a lot of great things happening. And I'll just address, the street takeovers, and there was news about, the National Guard coming in. Look, y'all, having the National Guard does not promote public safety. Let's just keep it a buck. It's because a lot of the things that we could have to address public safety, we need to have proactive measures. And those are things that, the Republican legislature just hasn't been doing, to the best that we could do. Now, there's a piece of legislation that I've been working on, which is speed safety cameras. And so that is a tool that can be used. And thankfully, we have bipartisan support, and we're trying to see if we can get it through.
So that's different than red light cameras.
Yes, they're similar. So it's photo, but it's also only acted out once you're actually going 15 miles over the speed limit. And we've had parameters in there. But Milwaukee is a city with a lot of hidden gems. We have, as Milwaukee, we're the city of festivals where everyone comes around the world, whether it's Harley Fest, Summerfest. And there's a lot of culture that's here as well. Now, can we address the haves and have-nots? We should, but that doesn't mean that we throw out the bad water with what's good,
Would you support getting the Milwaukee Police Department hiring back to their levels that they say they need? Because that's been a big discrepancy. I think we're talking about 100 or more jobs, maybe 200.
Well, I have concerns about that just because with Act 12, there was already provisions where the city has to hire more law enforcement. Right. So the city already spends a good chunk of their budget on law enforcement. There are other things that we could do to promote public safety, which would be, what are we doing for our health, mental health, and even sort of like the traffic, measures that I mentioned earlier. So and I get our law enforcement, they go through a lot, with the things that they see day in and day out. But having law enforcement as the sole issue to address the public safety issues isn't going to solve it all, And I had a young man that I got a chance to meet who was in a really tough situation. But part of that, and he's facing a case right now, but part of that was he was seeing domestic violence at home. And so if we're really going to be serious about addressing public safety, it's having obviously law enforcement, but you need to address those things that are happening at home too.
She is State Senator Dora Drake. Thanks for spending a half hour with us.
Thank you
Fascinating
for having
conversation.
me.
You're welcome to come back again.
Yeah, maybe after the town halls.
Yeah,
love to hear
what everybody's having to say.
Sounds good.
You're listening to Point Taken. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up after this, which is news right on 620 WTMJ.
Bill Berrien is a former Navy SEAL, a businessman, and he's running for governor.
I'm Bill Berrien. While the globalists and corrupt politicians shipped our jobs to China, I went all in on Wisconsin. At my manufacturing business, we hire American, build American, and take the fight to China. I'm an outsider and a businessman who puts America first, just like President Trump. Together, we will make Wisconsin manufacturing great again.
Bill Berrien for governor, paid for by Bill for Wisconsin.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted. For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella windows and doors different.
different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gene Nadella to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Coming up on 11:01, it's 71 degrees. Today, mostly sunny with a high of 76. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Tiff Pua. Class is back in session for Milwaukee Public Schools. Governor Tony Evers visited Browning Elementary School this morning to help kick off the first day of classes. The governor says the state continues to address an ongoing teacher shortage.
At the end of the day, we really need to have people understanding what an important job teaching is and working in a school district is. Because it's our future, it's all about our kids. And across the state of Wisconsin, yeah, there's still a shortage, but we're working on it the best we can.
MPS has 98 teaching vacancies. Superintendent Dr. Brenda Casellia says some central office employees who are certified teachers are currently filling those roles. Some Milwaukee area technical college students impacted by this summer's historic flooding are getting help from a campus nonprofit. The FAST Fund, Faculty and Students Together, provides emergency help for students. Director Brey Burris tells WTMJ the need has surged since the floods.
The average age of MATC students is 29. These are primary income earners who've taken time to go back to school, to further their education, to get living wage-paying jobs. So the hope is when we're assisting students to stay in school, that we're also assisting the families and ultimately the community.
The nonprofit has also partnered with the Sherman Park Grocery to expand access to food and essentials for students and families. Milwaukee saw more than a dozen street takeovers this past weekend, with hundreds of people and vehicles creating dangerous conditions.
I mean, if you saw the videos, I saw a video where they must have had thrown gasoline on the middle of the street. They were like doing all these donuts and these circles in the middle of the street full of fire.
Alex Ayala, president of the Milwaukee Police Association, says officers need additional support to manage these situations safely.
That would clearly be a perfect example of having the National Guard come and help us until we get our staffing numbers right. I think that would be a great help, and I welcome it.
Ayala is urging action, saying limited staffing makes it impossible to safely control reckless events. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
The Trump administration broke the law when the president deployed federal troops to Los Angeles this summer, according to a new ruling from a federal judge.
In the order by U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer, he writes, quote, "The evidence at trial established the defendants systematically used armed soldiers whose identities were often obscured by protective equipment and military vehicles to set up protective perimeters and traffic blockades, engage in crowd control, and otherwise demonstrate a military presence in and around Los Angeles," end quote. He wrote, "In short, defendants violated the Posse Comitatus Act. That law makes it illegal for the government to use a military for domestic law enforcement. The ruling is stayed until September 12th to allow the president to appeal." Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Congress is back after its August recess with a full plate, including averting a government shutdown. Democrats have called for a meeting between congressional leaders, saying the funding issue must be resolved in a bipartisan way.
Lawmakers have until September 30th to pass a bill to keep the government funded, though getting both parties to work with President Trump could be a challenge.
It's going to be passed exclusively by Republicans.
Republicans have majorities in both the House and Senate, but they will need 60 votes in the Senate to keep the government funded. That means they'll need the support of at least 7 Democrats. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything is down on this first trading day of September. Your Dow is down 561 points to 44,985. The S&P 500 is down 97 points to 6,362. And your NASDAQ is down 403 points to 21,051. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:05.
Networks, streaming services, retail chains, and tech giants are all adding plus to their names. But where did the concept originate? We may be biased, but we think these big wigs found their inspiration for Plus at Hasselus Mattress. Hasselus showrooms are employee-free. Give your mattress a try with no pushy sales guy. Plus, our 35 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393. Plus, unbeatable prices on Tempur-Pedic. Plus, free next-day delivery and setup. Plus, free haul away and disposal of your old mattress. Plus, 60-month interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic with approved credit. Plus, a $300 MasterCard gift card with your Tempur-Pedic mattress. Plus, a ruggedly handsome spokesman with a smooth radio voice. Get all this, plus a whole lot more when you shop at Hasselus Mattress. Or maybe we should change our name to Hasselus Plus. Nah. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
It's there all day, and it never goes away. I hate pain. It robs us of so much. But if you take action today, your pain could be gone tomorrow. Because at Rejuvenex, we harness the power of Toradol and hyaluronic acid to calm the inflammation and cushion joints. Rejuvenex treatments are safe, they're FDA approved, and in most cases, insurance, including Medicare and Medicaid, pays for them. At as low as $65 per injection per joint, our treatments are affordable. It's not a gimmick. It's pharmacological medicine administered in office in a simple and convenient manner. And with it, our patients have been able to avoid risky surgery and begin to stop the onset of arthritis. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and here we've made pain treatment as easy and affordable as it can be. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers finally get a day off after 19 games in 18 days. Milwaukee goes 9-10 in that stretch, ending with a 10-8 loss to the Phillies at home on Labor Day. Manager Pat Murphy tells Wisconsin's Morning News the team handled the stretch well.
We've been facing adversity all year long. People have doubted this team all year long, but here we are. And we've had some up and down, but who would have thought the Brewers have the best record in baseball on September 2nd.
The Brewers and Phillies resume their series at American Family Field tomorrow night. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We only have a few cars on the sides with disabled vehicles, but they're all out of the way. The big thing right now is slow down. It's 41 southbound from Silver Spring to Burleigh. You're definitely going to be tapping the brakes. And then you are definitely slow 94 eastbound from the Stadium Interchange to 27th Street. Stay safe out there, everyone. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny with a high of 76. Tonight, increasing clouds with a slight chance of a shower, a low of 61. For your Wednesday, cloudy, rain likely and breezy with a high of 72. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. Friday, a chance of showers and partly sunny, a high of 64. And Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 65. In Madison, it's 71. In Waukesha, it's 74. In Green Bay, it's 72. And right now in Milwaukee, it's sunny and 71 degrees. I'm Tiff Bua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of the Tuesday edition of Point Taken. And since we usually on Mondays have a update from Annex Wealth Management, we're moving it to Tuesday because there's too much happening. So from Annex Wealth Management, Brian Jacobson is on the phone with us. Brian, how you doing today? How was your long weekend?
Oh, it was fantastic. How was yours?
It was good. There was a wedding involved. There was a Brewers game involved. Lots of things. It was very fun. But fall is coming.
All right, Brian, so let's get right to it. So while we were all having fun over the weekend, I think it was Friday or late Friday, the tariffs were struck down by a federal court, although they did postpone any enforcement or any rollback until the higher court could act on it. I guess the obvious question, what happens next, is I think how we'll start.
Yeah, it was a little annoying to see that come through at, I think it was 5:30 when I got the news alert that the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, they upheld the ruling, or most of the ruling, from the Court of International Trade. And the Court of International Trade, that's the body that said that President Trump can't use, it's called IEPA, so that International Emergency Economic Powers Act, that he can't use that to impose tariffs. He can use it for all sorts of other things, but it doesn't allow for the use of tariffs. And the Court of Appeals basically said, yep, we agree with them on that part. However, the big question is, does this apply just to the people who brought the case to the court, or is this one of these nationwide injunctions that they can impose? Because as we know, with the birthright citizenship argument, the Supreme Court has already said, courts can't just say, okay, you can't impose tariffs universally, right? Maybe it applies only to the parties who brought the case. Maybe it only applies to their particular district. And so that's why the Court of Appeals said this is going to go back down to the Court of International Trade to make that determination. But before that happens, maybe President Trump and his team, they're going to try to appeal that ruling to the Supreme Court. So they have until October 14th, because they did put a stay on eliminating those tariffs until then.
So nothing actually changes for the public as of right now. But, right, and so then what are the chances, so if this goes up or goes down, that the government's going to have to pay back this money to companies? Is that an option on the table?
It is an option on the table, and that's one of the reasons why maybe we see today in the markets bond yields are moving up. Now, there's also some international factors at work here. In France, they're having a few issues as far as the stability of their government. You also had some inflation data in the United Kingdom. So kind of globally, yields moved up, and then it's an interconnected world, so ours move as well. But one of the contributing factors to this move up in yields, which could affect mortgage rates, pushing those slightly higher, is the idea that maybe the government has to refund all of this money that they have been collecting. Most likely they would, just because if it wasn't legal to collect it, what should allow the government to then keep it? But before that happens, it's entirely possible that the Trump team is just going to pivot to using other government powers that have been more tested, where they have this thing called Section 122 powers, where they can basically say for 150 days, we're going to apply 15% tariffs. Okay, so the law clearly allows for that. They didn't use that power, but maybe they'll pivot to that, and then they'll use what's called their Section 232 tariffs, sometimes called sectoral tariffs. That's what they used in order to apply tariffs to, say, autos, aluminum, different items like that. So it has to be more of a fact-finding mission that they go on, where they have to have public hearings, and then they can impose the tariff. So they'll probably just pivot to using some other power, in which case then maybe they get to keep the money. So we'll really have to see how this plays out.
Annex Wealth Management's chief economist Brian Jacobson joining us on Point Taken on this Tuesday. Lots of conversations among some of the other big countries in this world, India, China, Russia. Is this an alliance that should give us pause, raise our red flags, concerns that they're getting pretty close? And so much of this stuff is now related to the digital currencies and all the other ways we look at finances. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think this is something we really need to closely monitor. We know for a long time that Russia and China, that they had a little bit more cozy relationship than what maybe we were comfortable with. But now India has run into their arms as well. Or I guess there was a picture of Prime Minister Modi of India hugging President Putin in Russia. So they've run into each other's arms in a way. And that's not really a good look. And the extent to which is it that the 50% tariffs on India, because they continue to purchase oil from Russia, that's the reason why President Trump imposed those, did that help kind of draw those parties closer together? You have the fastest growing population in India, also the largest population in India. China's population is declining, but still very large. And, geographically, they're all very close. Economically, they're becoming more intertwined. And, is this a growing type of almost like another Cold War type of environment but this one, instead of being maybe based on military, it could be based upon cyber attacks and things like that. So something that we definitely need to really pay close attention to. Brian Jacobson joining us from Annex Wealth Management. We'll take a quick break here. Lots more to talk about.
Could there be some news from the Fed? Obviously, everyone's pointing to the maybe potential rate cuts. We'll ask Brian about that and a whole lot more after this on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Arvid, he fell asleep in the Perry sleeper again.
Come on, Ben. Wake up.
Go away. I'm hibernating.
You can't hibernate.
I can in the Perry sleeper. It has 5 extra inches of sleep space.
And no painful bar in the middle of my back.
I'm going back to sleep. I set an alarm.
For what time?
April.
The Perry sleeper, starting at just $125 a month with no interest till September of 2028 through September 7th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Hey, this is Steve Scaffidi from WTMJ. All right, Milwaukee weight loss. People ask about it all the time. Yes, I've lost 40-plus pounds on my way to 50. I've been in the maintenance phase for a while, now sort of getting back into the reduction phase. And it's the secrets. If you want to do this with willpower and not all the trendy stuff, the shots and, the gimmicky meals, bar, shakes, this is the way you can do it on your own with their great help. And they got great coaches at Milwaukee Weight Loss. That's something I love about them. Without the crazy workouts, all the gimmicky stuff I talked about, just real results that last, and you can sort of get off the yo-yo thing and take control of your own life. Doctor-developed, natural, helps thousands of people like me, like you potentially, lose up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 8 weeks. And then you can take control going forward. 20 to 30-pound weight loss, you can do it. Just a month or two, absolutely. I did it. You can do it. There's a smarter, faster, and safer way to reach your goals. And that's Milwaukee Weight Loss. Their incredible team is ready to help you right now. Call 262-393-2334. Do not wait. Call 262-393-2334. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi here to talk about my brand new show, WTMJ Outdoors. This week takes us to central Wisconsin. We talked to Mallory Payne from the Plover Tourism Department. All things recreation, outdoors, on their waterways. And then we go to a fishing guide in southeastern Wisconsin. All things fishing. All things Wisconsin outdoors. Join us every Saturday, 2 to 3, right here on 620 WTMJ.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Oh, we love that music. Even when it's a Tuesday.
Even when it's a Tuesday, we are talking to Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Brian Jacobson. All right, so what new updates do we have? The ongoing drama for the Fed board.
Gosh, yeah, isn't that, it's really kind of, they could be a made-for-television movie kind of thing about all of this. We do have this upcoming week, now that the Senate is back in session, they are supposed to be having these confirmation hearings for Stephen Myron, who he is currently on the Council of Economic Advisors for the president. He was tapped to become perhaps the next board member, taking over from Kugler, who she went back to go teach at the end of August, or actually at the beginning of August, at Georgetown University. So there was a vacancy there, and he was the one who was tapped to really take over that role. We'll have to see what happens there in terms of the confirmation hearing. What are his views? We kind of know them. He's been very public about it, so no big surprises there. But now it's that whole drama with Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board. And the judge on Friday, it was a little disappointing that she didn't actually rule on the temporary restraining order to give clarity as to, is she actually on the board or not? I think everybody would have appreciated that. They're holding more hearings today. There's some filings that are taking place. So hopefully within the next 24 hours, we'll get a little bit more clarity about whether or not there will be another vacancy that needs to be filled, because they do have a meeting coming up here. September 16th and 17th is the next meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee. And it would be good if they were playing with a full deck finally.
And from no matter who's sitting there, do you feel like we're finally going to see a rate cut looking at where the cards are right now with so many different things in the economy?
Yes, whether it is with 2 vacancies on the board or just one, it does seem like the majority view on the Federal Open Market Committee, because there's a total of 12 of them, 7 that come from the board, 5 that come from the regional banks, and you do just need a majority in order to rule here. And really, with the 6 or 7 people that we've heard speaking who are voting members, it looks highly likely that they will cut by at least 0.25 percentage points. In fact, when we look at the markets, what they're pricing in, it's like a 92% probability that they're actually going to cut rates by 25 basis points. The data we got this morning from the Institute of Supply Management from on the manufacturing side showed that there is still price pressure, right, due to tariffs, also commodity prices, all sorts of weather-related things, but that price pressure has eased a little bit, which might make the Fed a bit more comfortable cutting into that going into the September 17th announcement.
That leads me to this question, and Chris and I were talking about this earlier. It's sort of, I call them doom and gloomers. There's a lot of different names, and you probably have a name for these people at Annex where everything is negative.
Well, not negative. So
Could be negative.
There's a couple people in my life who are bracing because from the information they're getting, they feel like something bad is going to happen. Something crash. They feel like it feels like 2008 again, as far as what the tea leaves feel like, and bracing for making sure all debt is paid off, bracing for savings, whatever that looks like. And so, I guess for people who are feeling uncertain, what would your advice be?
Yeah, I guess it would be to maybe calm down, take a few deep breaths, right? Do a little bit of mental health here. But I sometimes refer to them as chicken littles, where they run around all the time thinking that the sky is falling. And maybe at some point they will be right. They have been in the past when you think about COVID, that suddenly happening, the global financial crisis. But we've recovered from those, thankfully, right? I mean, maybe it's just by the grace of God that we recovered from those events. But when you're running around thinking that we sometimes call them bear case scenarios where it growls and it's very really ominous sounding, where you get these big down moves. We've recovered from them, so you can't really organize your life around these bear case scenarios. You have to have a base case, a bull case, and recognize that the future is unknown and that it does pay to prepare for different types of outcomes. But if you're constantly fixated on preparing for the worst case, you oftentimes miss out on some of the great opportunities to grow your money or to enjoy life if you're always running around worrying about the bear case scenario.
Well, if you look at the market's performance this year, I know people, they put their money in very safe places instead of where they were before, which might have been everything from pretty safe to more aggressive. And those of us who stayed in, I guess is the easy way to put it, the unofficial term, and we did pretty well over the last few months. So I mean, there's possibility of negatives all the time. I guess you have to understand, that's what Annex Wealth Management is so great at. When do you make your decisions? How do you decide to invest? And then ultimately how you plan for things. I think that's the messaging that I always go with.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate that. And it really is about having that balance, taking that longer-term view, not making those emotional decisions. And that's one of the reasons why we encourage everybody to work with a professional. If you are trying to do it on your own, oftentimes what we have found is people who do it on your own, they chase the latest trends, and then they end up getting whipsawed by the markets because perhaps they bought closer to the peak, and then they sold closer to the trough. And really, it's about trying to have that long-term plan to be comfortable riding through the volatility that the market is inevitably going to throw at you. And really trying to time those ups and downs is a fool's errand. It's a formula for losing money and not growing your wealth instead.
Always love you sharing your wisdom. Chief Economist, Annex Wealth Management, Brian Jacobson, smart guy. Always appreciate that, Brian. Thanks for joining us. We'll have Dave on next Monday probably, but if Dave's not available, you're always welcome.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. I'll take a quick break here. Point taken. Kristin, Steve on this Tuesday edition. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Now it's back to work and back to talking is what we're going to do as we round out the rest of this hour before we hand it off to the midday folks right here on 620 WTMJ. Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi. It's September, right? Now we're in September. Markets continue to face uncertainty, ongoing trade disputes, persistent inflation, geopolitical tensions. We talked about that with Brian. Contribute to an unpredictable economic landscape for investment retirement planning. The fee-only fiduciaries at Annex Wealth Management provide clear, objective guidance. Their approach begins with understanding your unique financial situation. Everybody's different. You have to set realistic goals, craft a strategy tailored to your needs. Unlike advisors who push commission products, Annex prioritizes your best interests. Their experienced team integrates all aspects of wealth management, retirement planning, investment strategies, tax optimization, that's a big one, estate planning, very important, under one roof. With 8 Wisconsin locations for in-person consultations, and flexible virtual meetings via Zoom. Annex ensures accessibility and convenience, meeting you wherever you are. For Annex Wealth Management, whether you're exploring Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, their solutions are customized to fit your needs. Visit annexwealth.com, click on the now famous Get Started button to begin the conversation on creating a personalized financial plan. You can find it, Annex Wealth Management, annexwealth.com.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LIFE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code LIFE.
Whoa! What are these? Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Available in 2 great flavors, cheesy garlic or pepperoni. Both delicious. Screamin' Sicilian doesn't play around. They're fully loaded breadsticks that come in their own bakeable tray.
Dang! Woo! These are next level. Are they the main course?
Nah, just the appetizer. Find Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Bring the party, bring the flavor.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Ridgetop Exteriors and Cornerstone Development. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday edition. This show's going fast today. We're going to have a really fun next half hour. Not that the show's not fun in the other times, too, but we had some serious conversation.
Well, last week especially, we had some serious conversations.
Yeah, very serious conversations.
Shooting in Minnesota.
Back to school time.
It is back to school time.
Yes.
Yeah, first day of school for most kids in Wisconsin.
Yeah. You know how I know it's back to school? So on my street, I live right by a high school.
Okay.
So all summer, no cars parked on my street. As soon as the first day of school, cars lined up and down my street.
How do you like that?
It doesn't bother me because generally they're gone by 3. So
okay.
Yeah, and kids got to park somewhere. I've always lived in that area, so I'm sort of used to it.
Yeah.
Somebody that would move in, they're probably like, why are all these cars here? Because it's not a busy neighborhood. It's a very quiet neighborhood. Although we've got more screaming kids lately. I could go off in a half hour on this thing. Why are kids screaming like blood-curdling screams?
What age child are we talking about?
We're talking like 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds. Like, why are they screaming like that? Would you condone that as a parent?
I need way more context.
Okay,
I feel like you're just complaining to complain right now.
No, I don't think so.
So you think there's 8-year-olds who are screaming more now than they were?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying why do kids
I don't know, 'cause they got
push out
excess
blood-curdling
energy.
screams? No, I'm not putting up with that. I'm going to walk away. Just kidding. All right, so interesting. Obviously, we spent all of last week talking about a school shooting, right?
Not all last week. We spent
the last 3
Wednesday,
days.
Thursday,
Yeah. So, I mean, way too much time in my point of view, my opinion. It's sort of a reality, right, of going back to school now, which is unfortunate because I can tell you when I went to school, we didn't think about this at all because it wasn't a thing. Now we do.
And even when I went to school, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and that's much more recent than my experience. So I guess that's the part that drives me crazy. It's the part that when people say, why are you still talking about this? Because I'm not putting up with we talk about it for a couple of days, then we just let it go. That seems silly to me and stupid.
Well, I think it's also unrealistic to think that there's not a lot of parents today who this isn't at the forefront of their minds, right? As far as the excitement that often does go with starting a new school year. There's a lot of, I have some family members who are sending their kids off for the very first time because they're starting kindergarten today. And the emotions, all the normal emotions that should go with that of the nostalgia of your kids growing up, the excitement that it surrounds it, but the fact that we are less than a week past the shooting that happened in Minnesota, and that the amount of parents who had that on top of all the other emotions they're feeling as they drop their kids off today, I think it's you can't move past the conversation because the conversation's not over.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you, if I log into Facebook today, which is no guarantee, I will see all of the first day of school pictures for those of us who are in our community who are sending their kids to school. And so I think this has to be part of that conversation as we move forward. And we're going to explore it. We're going to continue to explore this subject because I'm not going to be one of those people who just pushes it aside. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it in whatever time I have left on this planet because I think that's what's been happening too much. I appreciate all the conversations online about thoughts and prayers. Appreciate the prayers, appreciate the thoughts. But thoughts means action in my mind until we really do something. I'm going to keep on this, as I know you will as well. So we're gonna have some fun in the next half hour.
It was a topic we wanted to do last week.
Yes. So we're going to get to it. We got local news coming up, but right now, here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A federal judge rules that the Trump administration broke the law when the president deployed federal troops to Los Angeles this summer, saying that violates Posse Comitatus Act, which prohibits the military being used for domestic law enforcement duties. An appeal expected. China's President Xi hosting Russia's Vladimir Putin and India's Prime Minister Modi. China saying it's a stable, reliable partner as opposed to the Trump administration's often chaotic and punitive style. ABC's Karen Travers at the White House.
This is clearly sending a message to the administration that the threats that the president has made against India and their business relationship with China and Russia, that this is not really having an impact on these leaders.
The Taliban say a major earthquake in eastern Afghanistan has killed over 1,400 people and injured more than 3,000. As kids go back to school, at least 31 states now restrict the use of phones in schools. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:31. I'm Tiff Pua. Bottled water continues to be handed out in Williams Bay, where a no-drink order continues this week. Levels of nitrite in the village's water supply remain above the maximum levels allowed by the Department of Natural Resources. Homeowners are encouraged to flush all water lines in their homes to help circulate ongoing chlorine treatment. The village board will hold a public meeting regarding this order later today. A shakeup on vape sales takes effect today across Wisconsin. A new law requires store owners to only sell products that fall on the Wisconsin Department of Revenue's list of approved items or face a $1,000 fine per day per item. A total of 216 items are on the list, and any device being sold that is not on the list will be considered illegal. A judge's ruling on the lawsuit aimed to stop the measure could come this week. And West Dallas leaders create a nonprofit to provide immediate help to flood victims. The goal is to raise money from individual donations and larger corporate donors as money for homes is needed for the homes that are unlivable. Milwaukee County is still waiting to hear whether it will receive FEMA funding. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything's still down on the boards today on this first day of trading in September. Your Dow is down 499 points to 45,045. Your S&P 500 is down 90 points to 6,370. And your NASDAQ is down 369 points to 21,086. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic right now. Just two vehicles on the side of the road that are disabled, but they're out of traffic, so they're not bothering anyone. They're both on 94 southbound. But right now it's the slowdowns. 41 south from just south of Mill Road to about Burleigh, and then 41 northbound from North Avenue to Capitol Drive. You'll definitely be tapping the brakes in both directions there. We've got a few slowdowns. 94 eastbound from the Stadium Interchange to 27th Street. Stay safe, everyone. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny with a high of 76. Tonight, increasing clouds with a slight chance of a shower, low of 61. For your Wednesday, cloudy, rainy, likely, and breezy with a high of 72. For your Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. Friday, a chance of showers and partly sunny, a high of 64. And Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 65. Right now in Elkhorn, it's 72. In Kewaskum, it's 72. In Milwaukee, it's sunny and 71 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car is not one of them. The national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
What? The car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adam.com.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Family owned, family operated, family priced. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Looking ahead to life's next adventure? Hi, I'm Mike Yancey from Yancey & Associates. Whether you're buying a home or launching your dream business, we know there's a lot on your plate. But here's the thing, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1946, we've helped Wisconsinites like you secure, protect, and grow their version of the American dream. Our team is ready to tailor the perfect plan for you. Learn more at ansay.com. That's ANSAY.com.
I think that's Taylor Swift.
It is Taylor Swift.
Do you know the name? I never know the names of any of her songs. I've heard the song. Shake It Up.
This is Love Story.
Love Story.
This still is like one of her most
She's
famous
in a
and
love
one
story.
of her earliest songs.
We just talked about that recently.
I was gonna say, well, we did. How we didn't talk. Well, we kind of talked about it recently. We missed last week's big news of them actually getting engaged.
Yes.
Them being Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and we were gonna talk about on Wednesday. Not them specifically, but more the nature of parasocial relationships, because I'm not sure there's anyone, besides maybe Donald Trump, that Americans specifically in the modern age have a parasocial relationship with than
Good
Taylor
example.
Swift,
Yeah.
right?
Define it for people.
So parasocial relationship is basically when you, as an individual, have a one-way relationship with a celebrity. So like you start to think of them as people you know, or even friends, even when they have no idea who you are. Right. And Taylor Swift and certain celebrities are, more traditionally, I think, who we think about this, but especially now with social media, there's a lot of people who you have these one-way relationships with, even on the small level of like you and I, right? There's people who you and I every day are part of their lives. When they listen to us, we share our stories, they feel like they know us. And so when they see us in public, and it's the same thing for me with all my social media stuff, when I'm talking about my life and my husband and my kid and everything, where I've had people admit when they've met me in person, say, I feel like I know you, but I have to remind myself that you have no idea who I am. And so it's a pretty common thing that we now do either with people online or celebrities where you feel attached to them in one way and you're rooting for their success, or you defend them, or whatever friendship you feel like you have with them, even though they don't know who you are.
And I was just thinking about this over the weekend because that's the reality, right? You have these mutual and not mutual, one-sided admiration societies where you love this individual, but they didn't know nothing about you. But here's where it gets weird, though. I think there's this weird part of social media where people, like, if they follow someone, and in some rare, like Ricky Gervais tweeted back at me once.
Really?
Yeah, probably 5.
Does he follow you?
No, but I
He
said
just saw
something
your tweet?
about him. I'm a huge Ricky Gervais fan, not surprising to most people because I've talked about him for a lot of years. He's one of the most talented comedians in the world, and I mean that. And he answered one of my tweets, and after I talked about him, and I put him in there, but I don't have a relationship with Ricky Gervais. But it's like this weird way you can make a connection with your parasocial relationship that sort of is a nuance that we maybe don't think about. Lots of people have connected with people that way. I've had other people say, oh, my God, I was having a conversation with so-and-so they're like famous and I'm not. So that's like a weird part of the story too. So you can have some, in some extreme cases, some contact.
Some contact, but I guess it's the one. I think it's something that's been around for a long time. Think about like the fact that if you really want to go back, like people who fought for a king in the Crusades or any of these like massive wars, they never actually knew the king, like in the
Never
name
saw the king.
of someone, right? And
Yeah.
and the willingness of, and I don't even know if it's fandom at that point, but it's a weird human relationship. So I guess, do you like because I brought this up because I typically do not have parasocial relationships where I feel invested in people who I don't know. Like I am fans of, but not as far as like.
Yeah, like if something bad happened to you, you'd feel sad or whatever. I don't have.
But I
don't
guess
think
that's
I
not
do.
totally true because someone like when Robin Williams died and like the impact he's had on the world, but I don't know. But I have a weird parasocial relationship with Travis Kelce's and Taylor Swift's relationship. Not either of them individually,
Right.
but like their relationship, because I feel, and we talked about this on our podcast, where I feel like it has some similar aspects. It reminds me of my current marriage, my marriage.
We both talked about
and
that, yeah.
so, and it just made me start thinking about in general, if everyone has these. So like growing up, do you feel like you had a parasocial relationship with someone where like you were very invested, like with like Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah, but not to the like. I didn't. Follow
You were like
him
up
every...
to date on his like love life and
No.
his legal woes
No.
as far as the protection of his
just love the
music
music.
rights and everything like that. So there was not. Do you feel like you have it with any of the athletes that you follow? Is there anyone who is like you feel more invested in who they are as a person and how they're doing?
No.
Without having ever met them.
I don't
Okay.
think I have one of these other than my.
Do you think it's more of a female thing than a male thing?
It could be. Yeah, I don't know how you would measure that other than asking females. If you're a woman out there, 855-616-1620.
Well, no, I think if anyone right now, I feel like, do you feel like you have a parasocial relationship
Yeah.
with someone where that is a one-sided relationship? And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I think there's probably arguments, like psychological arguments of why we do this and what it does for us that we subscribe to these. But I just think it's interesting because I think Taylor Swift certainly, this is the best example of it. But there's a lot of people who I think have a parasocial relationship with Trump.
All right. I do think that's exactly right. So here's my question: as two untrained medical professionals, mental health professionals, we are not that. Is it healthy? I would argue it's not healthy.
I don't know if it's, I think healthier or not healthy is too much of a binary. Is it helpful?
Or helpful?
I think that's a different question as far as what is the value it provides you besides entertainment? Like, what is the mirror that is brought up as far as your not only just emotional investment when it comes to any of these, going to the Eras Tour, if we're talking about Trump, traveling to go to the RNC or traveling to go to any of his campaign rallies, like the actual money you put into these relationships too, sometimes if it is a musician you can see or a show you can see of some sort. But is the value you get back emotionally, is there some kind of payoff there?
Is it worth it?
Yeah. I think that's a different question than healthy. Because I think to a certain extent, I don't know, what's healthy? If it's bringing you joy, isn't it healthy?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, I know we got to get the break. You're talking about people liking the show or liking me as a host or you as a host. And one of the common ones, and it's never intended like they say it, but, oh my God, I love you. And they'll say it like, you know, my wife's standing next to me. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. But I know what they mean, right?
Yeah.
They love the show.
They love the show.
And love what we do on the show. But it's always this weird thing like, wow, that's the first thing you said. And here's what I do with that. First of all, I'd say thank you because it's awesome. Introduce my wife. And then I say, I love that you love the show. What do you like about it? And then the next question, what don't you like about it? Because I get much more usable information from that part of it.
Oh, I want to hear more about what people don't like.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it me?
People both love and hate you. Trust me on that. She's Kristin. I'm Steve Pointe-Taken on this Tuesday on 620 WTMJ.
Enjoy life at Capri Communities, where senior living's our expertise. Caring staff that help you when you need. Enjoy life at Capri, making friends and memories. Living life
WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. You should sleep all night. That's the goal, and that should be your reality. That wasn't mine, and I went to Advent, 30-minute visit. Talked through all my problems. They answered my questions. They put me at ease. We added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed, which was not hard to do. They figured out for me that my problem, like a lot of people's, was sinuses and nasal passage in my breathing triangle. And I've said to this day, it changed my life because I know, and you should know, that if you sleep well, you have a much better chance of having a very good, productive day, whether that's enjoying your retirement or going to work. And after the short procedure it did for me 5+ years ago, I breathe better than ever. I sleep through the whole night. Last night, uninterrupted, 7.5 hours sleep. And I love that that's my reality. It can be yours as well. If you want to find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to AdventKnows.com. Simple as that. AdventKnows.com. Schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Hey, surprise! Kohl's is extending their Labor Day sale for one more week. WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you missed out over Labor Day weekend, now's your chance to shop their guaranteed best deals and extra savings store-wide. Save big on everything you need for your home. Furnitures, appliances, mattresses. Only for a limited time at Kohl's. Save 60% on furnitures and mattresses, then take an additional 10% off. Wow. Use code WEEKEND10 at checkout in-store or online to save an extra 10% on sofas, sectionals, dining tables, bedroom sets, mattresses, and more. Shopping for appliances? For a limited time, only during Kohl's extended Labor Day weekend sale, save an extra 5% on kitchen and laundry appliances from all your favorite brands. Use code WEEKEND5 at checkout. Discover Kohl's better selection, better experience, best value guaranteed during the extended Labor Day weekend sale before it's gone. Check it out at one of their 4 convenient locations or shop online at Kohl's.com.
Step up to quality furniture. Get more for your money at Kohl's.
We've got big rewards in store for Fleet Farm shoppers at our Buy More, Earn More event. August 28th through September 3rd, Fleet Rewards members will enjoy extra rewards on all qualifying purchases. Earn $10 when you spend $100, earn $25 when you spend $250, and earn $50 in rewards when you spend $350 at Fleet Farm. Membership's free. Sign up in-store or online. Then stock up to get extra rewards while you can at Fleet Farm's Buy More, Earn More event. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Historic Fox & Hound Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
We're both looking at each other like someone needs to talk.
Well, we will talk, but it was more of the parasocial relationship of, I don't know.
Let me do politics.
Okay, do politics.
I think Americans, whatever your party is, whatever your ideology is, have a very unhealthy, weird relationship with their presidential candidates, their parties.
But was it always like that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if it started with Trump. I think there's a lot of people who feel like that with Obama. Right.
Sure,
I think there's
Absolutely.
a millennial, a left-leaning millennial attachment to Obama because we were, let's see, the range probably would have been like 15 to 25-ish, maybe a little bit, maybe I'm off a little bit, of coming of age, him being president, feeling like it was, hope and change. And I think there's still an attachment to him like that. And since that's basically all I can really speak to because when Bush I was a freshman in high school when Bush was elected. And so I don't exactly know what the attachment was to him.
Do you think
you had a parasocial relationship?
Do you think you had that kind of attachment with Kamala Harris?
No, but I also think because as I also, where I'm at in my life, feel like we have to hold, these are people who work for us.
Yeah.
And it is now a weird thing because of social media and because of cable news. I think the more access we have to them as personalities is different than it was 20 years ago. And so the person who was in charge of her social media last summer and all of the trends and the vibe that they were giving off of, you feel like you know this person and all, the intentionality behind it. But if, you try to take a certain reframing of that and feel like, all right, this is a politician. This is not a celebrity. This is not someone I am a fan of. This is someone who you need to hold accountable to do their job.
But those two things are blended now.
They're totally blended now.
And I don't like that. And I think I'm going to say this, and you can take it however you want. I think this fascination with political figures makes those people who do that a lot dumber, because you believe things that aren't true. You accept them. You don't challenge them. I just don't like it. And I gave you some examples of the president saying at least 5 things that were completely false last week, and there's not even any coverage on that anymore, really, other than a couple stories I read. Everyone's just allowed to say whatever. And I understand it's hard. We have guests on that say things that I don't agree with, but I'm not here to call them out. That's their take on it. I get that. And when you're talking about politics, everyone has a different opinion about everything. So I understand how that works. And I understand that we're in this period of trying to figure it all out. Who has the best ideas? And I don't think anybody has the market on best.
What are you trying to make right now?
I'm trying to make the point that we're not being served by this obsession with these
feeling like you have a relationship and an attachment to people that don't actually know, especially when it comes to politics.
It makes you just believe everything they say or trust everything they say, and that's the last thing we should do. The great thing about the media, if you want to look at the media, which we're part of, is that it sort of has changed us where advocacy journalism has sort of blended in, and now we're not challenging anybody in a real way.
I think it's different as far as what it shifted was people who want to be in politics. There's now a more perverse desire to be in politics because of the opportunity to be famous.
Yeah.
Whereas I think
rich.
Before social media and, the cable news shows or whatever, the opportunity, I think the rich thing may have always been there, but there's just more opportunities now that come because of the attention economy that you now can, if it's not going to be an elected official, you could, what's his face still has a show, right? Gates, right? He's he stepped down from Congress. Mm-hmm. He didn't become attorney general. He somehow evaded any charges for sex trafficking a minor. Yeah. And now he still has a show and still has a following and a fandom and stuff like that and is still making money. So I think there's still, it provides opportunity that was not always there to, as long as I can capitalize on people's, desire to be attached to this profile, there's more monetary opportunity in the long run.
Here's where it gets confusing. I'm called out for both pointing out the things that aren't true and not doing it enough. So you tell me what the sweet spot of that is. What is the answer there? Because I get both. It's like this weird reality we live in now. And here's the funny thing. I'll end it with this. And you hate when I do this. Reality TV has created a lot of these problems. This fixation on these couples or these bachelorettes. It's stupid. I see people post about this crap all the time.
I don't watch that much reality TV. I feel like you think reality TV has an outsized. I think social media is way more influential than reality TV.
All I hear about reality TV. And I'll play the old man in this one. It's dumb. It's making us dumber. And frankly, if you're worried about celebrity politicians, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Trust me on that one. All right, quick break. Kristin,
I thought
Steve.
this was supposed to be fun.
It didn't turn out to be fun. I was disappointed in this segment, personally and professionally.
All right, are we talking about some Packers updates?
Let's do something real fun after this.
We'll do something real fun, real short after this.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money, the One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush-mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, "Wherever you go, my heart goes with you."
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
Visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Les Miserables, still the world's most popular musical. Experience the breathtaking production that leaves both audiences and critics awestruck. Les Miserables. October 28th through November 2nd at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
Shop smarter with Higher Love Cannabis Company in Menominee, Michigan, just a few seconds across the Wisconsin border. Award-winning, organically grown, quality products you can trust. Don't settle for knockoffs in Wisconsin. Get the real deal at findhigherlove.com/CBD.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi here to talk about my brand new show, WTMJ Outdoors. This week takes us to central Wisconsin. We talked to Mallory Payne from the Plover Tourism Department. All things recreation, outdoors, on their waterways. And then we go to a fishing guide in southeastern Wisconsin. All things fishing. All things Wisconsin outdoors. Join us every Saturday, 2 to 3, right here on 620 WTMJ.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, real quick. My trip is rapidly selling out. It's to Cancun. Winter, come along with yours truly. Great resort. Cancun's Hotel Zone. Secrets Divine is a chic contemporary escape where luxury meets tranquility. It's got the best of everything. 5-star resort. I'm not getting a tattoo on this trip. It'll be the next one, but I'm looking forward to it. Don't wait. 888. What is it? 888. Oh, I forgot the damn thing.
85. For Go Fox Go. I thought you meant the text line.
Yeah, Go Fox Go. Yes. Or go to foxroadtravel.com. Rose is gonna
kill
kick
you.
my butt.
Rose is gonna kill you.
Kick my butt.
All right, and if you are free Thursday night, one of the things that I get to do when I'm at Journal Sentinel is moderate their Inside the Journal Sentinel events. And this one, if you are a Packers fan, is going to be very fun. So the entire Packers coverage team is going to have a live event at the New Fashion, which is right across from the Fiserv Forum, on this Thursday, 5 to 7. I am the MC, but talk to them. You're going to ask them questions about all things Packers, preseason, training camp, Micah Parsons, which we have not gotten to talk about that yet.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
It was very fun to
yes, it was.
to talk to I was with a bunch of my Vikings family this weekend, so that was very fun to be like, ha! How do you like them? How do you like that? So if you want to text Packers to 855-616-1620, it's a free event. You can RSVP there. But again, the Packers coverage team, 5 to 7 this Thursday. And if you want to meet me, if you're one of the people who actually likes me,
tell her you love her.
Doesn't hate me, as apparently people tell Steve that I'm divisive.
Most people don't hate you.
Okay.
Most. All right. Midday's coming up. Greg Matzik and a special guest. How about that? After the news, which is next. 620 WTMJ.
I've always believed that great service makes all the difference. At Waterstone Bank,